Greetings all. I'm back at the wonderful place again. Little bit later and it's just as cold as it was yesterday. Yes it is. There's my partner in crime. She's found a piece of something to chomp on. So here we are again. I uploaded a video last night and I got another one being exported now, which will be ready when I get back. So I'm back on track. Another little hiccup. I didn't have a very large SD card, so I was always having to take stuff off it before I could put new stuff on it. So I ordered a 512 gigabyte SD card, stuck that in the GoPro, and that gave me like 23 hours of video. So I just made like 4 vlogs and didn't even look at it, didn't even do anything with it. And yesterday I had a look at them and oh no, they can't be opened by any app. I've copied them onto another drive and you can't open them. You can't even open them directly from the SD card. The files are of the right size and everything looks alright, but they just won't open. So I've come to the conclusion it must be the card, because no file on the card opens. So I'm probably gonna have to do them 4 vlogs again. You see, nobody has a trouble-free life. We all get these little ups and downs. We just have to deal with them. We can't change what happens, but we can change how we respond. So today I'm going to run through what I know about Thai festivals. Bit of deja vu hitting me now because I did this time yesterday. I can do it again though, it's not a problem for me. Thai festivals. Well, we might as well start with the one we've just been through, eh? Christmas and New Year. Christmas Day and Christmas generally doesn't really mean anything to the Thai people, with the exception of the few Christians who obviously are aware of the meaning of that day. Really in Thailand, Christmas is something that the retail shops jump on, you know, and they promote it as a way to sell more products, I guess. Any festival will do. You do see Thai kids walking around in Santa, with Santa hats on and stuff like this, and people will put Merry Christmas banners outside their house, but not many. In fact, I think Christmas Day, the 25th of December, is a regular school day and a regular work day. So, and especially in rural areas, Christmas means nothing. But then of course you've got the New Year, and the New Year does mean something to the Thais. Even though it's not their New Year, their New Year falls in April, which we will talk about a bit later. But yeah, everywhere in Thailand they'll do the countdown, you know, and there's lots of things going on in Bangkok and areas where you can go and see the new year in. One funny thing I've noticed, Over the years, I've been to quite a few parties that were held by Thais to celebrate New Year. So this is a New Year's Eve party. And you would expect, would you not, that at 11:59 everybody would charge their drinks and get ready for the countdown. Nope. Party's over by 10:30, 11 o'clock. Everybody's gone home, which I thought was rather surprising. I wonder if any of my viewers have had any experience with this. Just an observation. So yeah, New Year finished this year and everybody went back to work. So let's go from here on now. Thai festivals. I think really the next big one is the Thai New Year. Yes, the Thai New Year, which is called Songkran. Not to be confused with Songkram, that's war. We've almost had one of them not so far away from here. So Songkran is the traditional Thai New Year, because the Thai New Year is lunar. And it usually runs for 3 days. So that will be April the 13th, the 14th and the 15th. And of course it's the hottest time of the year. And it used to be a tradition whereby the elderly people of the family would all sit in chairs, and then the younger people would kneel in front of them and why them and pay their respects to them, and then put a little bit of powder on their face, and then the elderly people would just sprinkle a little bit of water on them. But of course, I think around about the 90s, the Western influence came in with Songkran, and it turned into a water war. And I mean, now there's areas in Bangkok where you can go, you know, they're water zones where you can take your high-powered water guns and spray everybody, and everybody has a great time, and everybody's drinking and powder, there's talcum powder everywhere. I think the Thai government have tried to kind of like minimize the water throwing, so they only have zones now. But of course, once you get out of Bangkok, you're gonna find on the side of the road a group of Thais, adults and kids, with a great big tub of water and a hose pipe and bowls, and they just throw it at you as you go past if you're driving a car or a motorcycle. And if you're in any city in Thailand on the 13th of April and you're going to go out, you've got to expect to get wet. You really do. Don't wear your best clothes, t-shirt, pair of shorts. Take a plastic Ziploc bag and put your phone and your money in there, and cigarettes if you smoke. But other than that, you're going to get wet. You just are. And if you're not the kind of person that could take that, then don't go out on the 13th of April. I do remember seeing a foreigner. I went years ago. One of my favourite things to do on Songkran Day would be get myself down to Soy Cowboy at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. And even that early, all the bars are opening up. They've got big tubs of water outside. All the girls are there. You know, music's blaring, alcohol's flowing, and that just goes on all day. Yeah, I had some wild times then. And I do remember there was one guy, quite well dressed, got out of a taxi at the end of Soy Cowboy, and he went right up to these girls who were throwing water and said, "Please, please, please do not put water on me. I've just come from a business meeting. And as he said that, two girls came up behind him with a big tub of water and they emptied it over his head. Oh my God, was he furious. But you just can't, you know, if you leave your house on that day, be prepared to get wet, because you will. And it's quite pleasant because it's so hot, you know. Of course, it's very famous among the foreign tourists now, and a lot of them actually, I think, come to Thailand just for those 3 days. It might go on a little bit longer in some places, like maybe Pattaya or Chiang Mai, and they might have their own little cultural thing about it. But generally speaking, in the Thai households, the ceremony with the elders and the putting the powder on the face and the splashing a little bit of water, that will take place, you know, aside from the water fights that you see happening. Lots of accidents happening around that time, you know. Guys drunk riding motorcycles around, it's gonna happen. I'm sure lots of people lose their lives on that festival. And people get drunk and there are fights and disagreements, sure. But generally speaking, it's a great, fun few days. And if you drive a car, you know, expect your car to get absolutely covered in powder, because they like to mix it up with the water. And yeah, don't get upset, you know, don't get upset about it. It's just the way it is. And you either hide away for 48 hours or you embrace it. Right, what comes after Songkran? We're talking about April there, aren't we? Well, I think around about July, it's the beginning of the Buddhist Lent. Pansa Buddhist Lent. Khao Pansa is the start of the Buddhist Lent. And that's in the rainy season, and that's 3 months. Now, many Thais will actually give up alcohol for those 3 months. You know, they're Buddhists and they understand Buddhist Lent, so they'll go without. And this is traditionally a time also where the monks will not travel around. They'll stay in their monastery for the entire 3 months. Ork Pansa, the end of Buddhist Lent, I think that coincides with the end of the rainy season. End of October, beginning of November. And that is when the next major festival takes place, which is called Loy Krathong. I'm sure it's the end of October or the beginning of November. And the date might change because, again, it's a lunar thing. This festival, Loy Krathong, is to pay respects to the goddess of water. And what it involves is you make a krathong. A krathong is a round thing that floats. Traditionally, they're made out of banana trees and banana leaves and incense and candles. So you cut a little slice of the tree, and you put leaves all around the outside, and you put some leaves inside, and you'll put a candle, stand one candle up, 3 sticks of incense, stick them in there, maybe a few coins. They put a few coins in there. And then you see, when you go to any waterway, a canal, a river, a lake, in the evening on that day, Loy Krathong, when you float your krathong away in the water, you're supposed to wish that all your troubles will float away with the krathong. And if you live near a temple, then that is the place to go on the evening of Loy Krathong, because there will be a big temple fair there with many vendors and music And of course you go down there and you float your krathong and you do all that bit. And a couple of 100 meters further downstream, there's a bunch of kids in the water, and they'll be taking all the krathongs out of the water and the money. They're trying to stop people using foam krathongs now, which is obviously a good idea. You know, you could make them out of banana trees. I will stick a few pictures of our homemade krathongs over the years that I've took pictures of. I'm sure I've got them stored somewhere, so I'll put a few of those pictures in, just so you know, if you're not in Thailand, you get an idea of what I'm talking about. So that's Loy Krathong. There are probably about a dozen Buddhist festivals that go throughout the year where shops won't sell alcohol and people will go to the temple. I'm trying to think of the names of some of them now. I can't remember off the top of my head. But there are probably about 8 or 10. But the main festivals are the New Year, the Western New Year, the Thai New Year, Songkran, and the Loy Krathong Festival, to pay respects to the water. The goddess of water, I think it is. And yes, any temple anywhere in Thailand will be absolutely packed that evening, and there'll be food for sale. It's a really good evening, and it's crowded. They're always crowded because every Thai family will either buy a krathong or make a krathong. If you can't make one or you can't be bothered, you can buy one at the venue. You know, there's people selling krathongs there. And you light the incense and light the candle and put it in the water and slowly push it out, and you're supposed to close your eyes and wish for all your troubles to disappear, just like the krathong is. I think last year was the first year since I can remember that we didn't make our own krathongs, and then as a family went down to the temple and did all the, you know, the krathong thing. We didn't do it last year. In fact, I don't even think we went. Don't know why that was. It is traditional for Thai males to become monks for 3 or 4 months, and that happens usually about when they're about 17 or 18, and they shave their head and they shave their eyebrows, and you know, they wear all white and the family's all there and there's a little procession, and then they stay in the temple for 3 or 4 months, and I think it's good. It teaches them discipline, helps them to understand the Buddhist concepts and values, and they come out of that and they're probably a little bit more appreciative about the things they have in their life. Weddings, Thai weddings. I've only ever been to one Thai wedding, and it was a big affair at a hotel in Bangkok. Can't remember whose wedding it was, but I got invited with my wife. And yeah, Thai wedding receptions are, in some ways, are pretty much like Western ones. You know, you have the bride and the groom, and bride and groom's family. They do have some traditional things that they do, like the the groom is supposed to put lots of money in envelopes, and they have these little games, and the women are usually the ones who are doing the activities, and then the groom has to give them these envelopes as they complete certain tasks. And then, of course, you've got the dowry. A lot of Western guys don't understand the dowry, and they don't accept it. I think the dowry is in place because the girl's family have raised her to be a fine, upstanding woman. You know, she has all the necessary skills to become a wife. She knows how to cook. She can look after the house. And so as some sort of compensation for that, you know, because she's not going to be living on her own and working and sending money home, I think the dowry is a compensation for that, I think. But today, the dowry is usually given back to the bride and groom after the party's over. But it is on display during the reception, and I think, just, you know, for face reasons, the bride's family would like the dowry, whether it be gold or cash. It's quite often gold or a mixture of gold and cash. And the groom and his family really need to talk to the bride and their family, you know, a good few months before the wedding to discuss the dowry. Yeah, I've known Westerners who've married Thais and they've paid, you know, I don't know, 80, 100,000 baht in dowry, but they got it back. You know, the bride's parents gave it back to them and said, you know, this is to help you get going, you know, with the house and all that. So that's normally what happens. I mean, there must be instances where the bride's family keep the dowry, and there must be instances when there's no dowry. I remember when I met my mother-in-law, I gave her 17,000 baht in an envelope. I wired her, I gave it to her, and I told her, I said, look, that's really all I've got. I'm not a rich man, but I'll make you a promise. I'll promise to take care of your daughter, any children that we have, and I'll take care of you if I can. She took the envelope, smiled, never said a word. And I think a couple of hours later, I saw my wife and I said, hey, you know, is your mum all right about all this? Yeah, she's fine. Yeah, my mum's fine. And I kept my word, you know, I sent her money every single month. Still do, even though we live with her now, I still do, and I pay all her bills. So she didn't get a big chunk of change off of me, but over the years it's worked out to be quite a considerable amount of money. Yeah, but worth every cent. You know, I'm quite happy to do that. We didn't have a big party at my mother-in-law's house with our wedding. I mean, we got married in an ampere in Bangkok. I think it was Bang Jack. You know, and I had to put a few hundred baht in an envelope because they wouldn't marry us because I didn't have a translator. And I mean, I could speak Thai fluently then. They wouldn't do it. They said, no, we won't do it without a translator. And I said, but I understand everything. No, you have to have a translator. So we're leaving, and as we get outside, a woman follows us, pee, and she talks to my wife, and she says, if you go over the shop across the road there and buy get a pink envelope and put 300 baht in it and come back in, they'll do it. Okay, so that's what we did, and we didn't need a translator, and we both got the marriage certificate, and I think it cost us 30 baht to get married. That was way back. And then a couple of days later, we came here to mother-in-law's house. And that was the first time I met her. I don't think she said 2 words to me in the 3 days we were here. And on the way back, I was saying to my wife, look, you know, I'm a bit worried about your mother-in-law. She seems very standoffish with me. And my wife says, no, she's like that with everybody. She's just a very, very quiet person. She only speaks if she's got something to say. So she's not, you know, I've already talked to her. She's fine with you. She wishes us a good future, and she's happy that, you know, that we've got married. So it's really okay. Don't worry about it. Oh, so I didn't. And it turned out to be fine. So I don't have much experiences with weddings. Oh, I do have one funny story to tell you. While I was in Minbury, I lived in a village called Minbury Garden Home. And Minbury Garden Home, I lived there for 19 years, so of course I knew most of the people there. And there was a girl there, she'd have been about 24. And she invited me to this party. She said, I'm getting married. It's at our house, you know, in the village. Would you come on Saturday evening? So I says, yeah, sure, I'd love to. So I go to the house, and there's lots of people there. And she was marrying a German guy who didn't speak much English. And he didn't speak any Thai at all. So anyway, you know, the party was fine and everything else, and he'd paid the dowry and all this, and then that was the end of it, and I never heard anything more from her or anything. And then about 8 months later, she's invited me to another wedding party, and she's marrying another foreign guy. And it was then that I realized what she was doing. She's meeting these guys on social media, and, you know, they agree to get married, and he starts sending her money over, and then he comes over to get married. But the thing is, they don't do the official marriage registration at the Ampere, you know, at the government office, which is where you have to do it. So they're not legally getting married. So I think these poor chaps have come over here, paid all that money, then had to go back to work, and then they're supporting her, thinking that she's their wife, you know, when actually she's not. So I'm sure that goes on. So yes, guys, you know, the wedding party isn't the wedding. That's just the celebration and the ceremonies that they go through. It's not the official thing that has to be done at the Ampere, the government office. Funerals. I've been to quite a few funerals in Thailand. One of them was a very well-known Thai superstar. Her name is Champu Aliahage. God, she's one of the most famous Thai actresses that there is. She's married now, she's got twins, and she just does the odd commercial, I think. But I knew her father very well, and we're going back quite a few years now. He's passed a long time ago. But when her father died, she obviously invited me and a couple of other foreigners who knew him to come, and it was a huge affair at this big temple in Bangkok, and all the movie stars were there, All the famous people were there, and I think it went on for something like 9 days and cost an absolute fortune. Yeah, and I've also been to a funeral where one of my good friends, an Irish guy called Jerome, he lost his life sadly, and his wife arranged the funeral in Minbury, and I went along to that. And it's traditional in a Thai funeral for there to be 2 or 3 days before the actual cremation where the monks chant, you know, and family and friends come and sit and listen, and maybe somebody would say something about him or her, that they, you know, what kind of a person they were and all that kind of stuff. And then on the day of the cremation, they actually, just before they're going to do the deed, they take the top of the casket off, they crack open a coconut, and they pour all the coconut milk over the person's face who's in the coffin, and they put some incense in their hands, I think, and they put money in there to help them on their journey. And I'm sure the soul is watching all of this. You know, I think we see our own funeral, and then it goes up the steps, and that's it. They burn it. And that's basically a Thai funeral. You should dress conservatively, try and wear black if you get invited. And you know, if you get invited, you don't have to go every single day, but you should turn up at least one day, and you'll get a little gift. You know, it might be one of these eucalyptus sniffer things, or it might be a little glass that's all nicely wrapped up. Funerals are quite expensive now. They can be. So, yes. And out here in rural Thailand, you know, if the family doesn't have a lot of money, then it's just a single day affair. Starts in the morning, you know, and they do all the chanting and everything else, and then late in the afternoon they're burnt. And at the time that the cremation takes place, they let off 3 huge fireworks. Boom, boom, boom. So if you hear them, you kind of know what's going on. Yes, what else is there about funerals? All the temples are busy. I mean, people are dying every day. People are born every day. Oh, and another thing is, their picture is always there. And they worry that the spirit will get lost. And that's why the picture is always there on display, so that the spirit can find their body and find the room where the funeral is taking place. I went to the temple here a couple of weeks ago, the temple where I shall be cremated, and I was talking to the monks there, and I said to them, oh, by the way, I said, this is where I'll end up. And they laughed. And they said, oh yes, you know, we'll have a 5-day funeral for you, and you can have a nice JD. I said, no, I want the quickest, cheapest one possible. 1 day. 1 diao like a pow. 1 day and then burn. And they laughed. And they asked me if I'd made a reservation yet. And I said, do I need to make a reservation? And they said, no. Your wife will sort everything out. But she knows, I've told her, I don't want a big fuss. 1 day will do me. Yes. Other traditions that they have. Let me think about other traditions that they have. As I've mentioned before, they have parties for different things and people come and they pay money for that. That is a big community thing. Oh, I've got some news about the election. The election was held yesterday, and in the evening I saw the guy who lives opposite me burning number 1, and he stuck his hands up in a victorious gesture. So yes, number 1 won. And I think that's 12 Mubans who voted on that one. So he will be the Obodor. I don't know how long it will be. 1 year, I'm not sure. It might be longer. But anyway, he's agreed for me to interview him. So I think it would be really interesting to talk to the Obodor and find out what his job involves, you know, and what kind of things they do, and what his responsibilities are, and how long he'll be an Obodor. Yes, it's quite interesting. I'm learning more about the local community. That sun is just about coming over the top of those trees. Yeah. What have I got to do today? What have I got to do today? Upload videos is what I've got to do today. And I still have 2 or 3 that need to be edited and then they can go. And I may have lost 4, as I mentioned earlier. Can't do anything about that. It is what it is. And that's very, very true. Things are just the way they are. And I think that's one of the things that foreigners have a problem with when they come to live in Thailand, especially rural Thailand. Why do they do that? And why do they do it like that? Well, they should do it like this. Well, they won't, and they just do it the way they do it. I will take my camera along to Khoo Khan one day. When there's a festival going on, I think that's when I'll do some filming in the town. Khoo Khan apparently used to be the capital of Dissected province years ago. And I've only been to Dissected city once, and that was to take the dog to the vet, to take Lucky to the vet there. There's an animal hospital there. And I had a quick drive around it, and it's not that big, you know, I wouldn't call it a city personally, but obviously I didn't see it all, but it didn't look that big, and I'm sure some of my viewers will know about Dissected city. Maybe that they've been there, you know, and they know of a few bars and restaurants where foreigners go. Yes, what's Lucky doing now? She's over there in that dip in the ground. Now the sun's coming over the tree. So yeah, there are so many Buddhist festivals in the year, you know, you lose count. And they're not like public holidays. I think, let me try and think about what they are. Oh right, you've got Children's Day. That's a nice day for the kids, and that happens on the second Saturday of January. So it might be the 16th or it might be the 18th. It's called Children's Day. And most of the fun places, you know, the fun parks and that, I think they're free for Thai kids on that day. And they can go to military bases and, you know, climb over tanks and sit around on aircraft and stuff like that. So there is one special day for the children. Then there's Teachers' Day. I can't remember when Teachers' Day is, but it's not long after Children's Day. And I think the teachers actually get a well-deserved day off for that day. And the day before, all the students will have some ceremony where they come and pay respects to their teacher. Then there's Wan Ratatamanun, and that is, oh, what's that called? Constitutional Day. I think that's even on the 10th of January. It's the day when Thailand became democratic. So it's called Constitution Day, and that's a public holiday. There are quite a few public holidays. Then there's Father's Day. Father's Day is on December the 5th because that was King Rama IX, King Bhumipol Adulyadej. That was his birthday, December the 5th. And he would always do a talk that would be broadcast live. For about an hour he would talk, you know, to his people. And I think Rama IX was probably one of the best monarchs ever, because he really did care about the ordinary people. He really did. He started so many projects, hundreds of projects for the farmers and all the regular people to improve their lives. And he never stopped doing that from the day he became king until the day he passed away. And he was very old. He was in his 80s, and he died on the 13th of October, which was a very sad day for all the Thai people. And I think the anniversary of his passing is also a public holiday now. And then you've got Mother's Day. Mother's Day is the 12th of August, because that was his beloved queen, Queen Sirikit. That was her birthday. She's recently passed, by the way, about 4 or 5 months ago. Queen Sirikit passed on. Again, she was almost as old as her late husband. Beautiful woman when she was young, and a very, very good queen by all accounts. She did all the things she was supposed to do. Trying to think now of other festivals or Thai cultural gatherings. They have quite a few boat ceremonies on the Chao Phraya River to do with the king and the royal family. They're quite nice to watch. They have these long boats and they go out, and the guys, they're all rowing in perfect unison. I think I've been to see one of those long boat processions on the Chao Phraya River many, many years ago, and it was great. So Thailand is a very traditional country. They have their ceremonies and they have their dates when they do many, many things. They're very patriotic people, very nationalistic. And they are the only Southeast Asian country to escape colonization. And that occurred way back when Rama V was king, I think. The French and the British were both in Southeast Asia, and they were colonizing countries left, right and centre. So the king of Thailand was very clever. Thailand was called Siam in those days, and it was much bigger than it is now. So the king of Thailand gave the French part of his northern lands. I think that turned out to be Laos and Vietnam, which the French then colonized and called Indochina. And the king of Thailand gave the British the southern part of his lands, which was Malaysia. And it worked because the British and the French didn't like each other. And they did not want to have borders that, you know, that were close, because there'd be a war. So it was very handy that Thailand was right in between the British territories that they were given and the French territories, and both countries saw Thailand as being a good trading partner. So Thailand escaped colonization. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Thai culture is so unique, because up until recently, it hasn't been diluted by Western influence. Although I'm sad to say, since the turn of the century, I think it has. You know, fast food and all that is here to stay. Yes, Thai culture is very interesting. Their history is very interesting. They always had battles with the Burmese. That goes back hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And there are actually pyramids they've found now in Thailand. If you're interested in pyramids in Thailand and the ancient history, check out my good friend JB Wonder's channel, because he's made some great videos about these hidden pyramids. And he asks the question, why aren't they digging? Why aren't they doing archaeology on these sites? It seems like they've just forgotten about them, which I find very strange. You know, that is strange. You wouldn't think that. There are pyramids all over the world. There are cave paintings all over the world showing the same aliens and the same spacecraft. You know, it's not figments of their imagination. They were just drawing what they saw. Yes. And I think the truth has been hidden from us for a long time, but it's coming out now thanks to technology like LiDAR. LiDAR is like an X-ray for the ground, and apparently they've flown over large areas of the Amazon, and they've used this LiDAR technology, and they've discovered hundreds, maybe even thousands of old settlements that have been overgrown by the jungle. There's Lucky, look. You okay, my girl? Yeah, she's okay. She's just wondering how long we're going to be here now until we go back, and it won't be long before we'll go back. So I didn't make my 30-day video challenge. I got waylaid with IT issues, which probably put me 6 or 7 days without posting a video, but I'm back on track now, and I'll see if I can't catch up. You know, maybe I could post 2 or 3 a day for 4 days, and then I'd catch up. And the more I think about it, there are so many things that I can actually discuss about Thailand and about rural Thailand. It won't be long before this cold snap goes. I had a look online yesterday and the long-term forecast for my location is about 7 or 8 days from now, then it's going to be 25 degrees at night, which is normal. And then it's just going to start to get warmer and warmer and warmer. The temperature rises from about the middle of January. It just continually rises until you hit the end of March, and then you've got like 43, 44 degrees, 100% humidity. Yes, very, very hot. But I've always said this, it's a lot easier to cool down when you're hot than it is to warm up when you're cold. So I'll have about 10 showers a day in April. You just keep throwing water over yourself. I've adopted the Thai way of showering. I don't use the shower attachment. I just have a big tub of water with a big bowl, and I just throw it over myself because I don't know, I think it's just better. It's more refreshing, especially in the hot weather. And of course sometimes we don't have that much water pressure where we've been living, and so using the shower is all right, but you're better off doing it the Thai way. I prefer that anyway. I suppose I could do a quick bit on gold. Thais love gold. Who doesn't? But they love 24 karat gold. None of this 9 carat or 18 carat stuff. You'll see Thais always wearing gold. Gold necklaces, gold bracelets, gold rings, gold pendants. Now gold is very easily turned into cash. If you've got Thai gold, you could walk into any gold shop anywhere in Thailand and they'll buy it off you. Or you can pawn it. They'll look at the weight, they'll look at the value, and you can borrow money on the security of that. And as long as you come in by a certain date, they give you a card and you pay the money, you can get your gold back. Otherwise they'll keep the gold and you'll lose a little bit. So Thais wear gold because they see that as a way to suddenly get cash if they needed it, urgently. And a baht, the weight system in Thailand for gold is called a baht. The same as the currency. 1 baht of gold is 15.2 grams. God knows what it is per baht now. But when I first came here, it was 1,800 baht for 1 baht of gold. 1,800 baht for 15.2 grams of 24 karat gold. I think it's in the 60,000s now. And I bought and sold quite a bit of gold in my life, in my time in Thailand. Buy the wife a 2 baht necklace, and a couple of years later we're short of money, so we go and sell the necklace, and then I'll buy a bracelet, and then we'll get rid of that. So yeah, over the years we've had gold. Gold can easily be transferred into cash. And of course you've got to be careful wearing gold nowadays. Feel that sun getting up now. It's very good. It's very good. Yes. That's another one bites the dust. Planted 2 of my krathong trees yesterday. We've got another 5 that we're going to plant here. I might do that today, actually. Come and plant these. I just need a shovel, really, and some water, and maybe we'll plant the 5 trees here, 1 in each corner of the rice field and 1 in the middle. Mother-in-law agrees with me. There's no point in planting a krathong tree on somebody else's land because things change in the future. You know, and it just doesn't make sense to plant a tree whether you're going to harvest the leaves on somebody else's land, because they could just say no at any time. No, you can't do that, you know, and you can't. Or they could sell it. They could sell it, and the new owner just, no, you can't come and take my krathong leaves off my tree. So we won't be doing that. We'll plant 2. Oh, my wife's already planted 2. She's got green fingers, so I always let her plant stuff. So we've got 1 out the front of the house, 1 out the back of the house, and we'll plant the rest today. Trying to think if there's anything else about Thai festivals and celebrations. Can't really think of any. No. There are no alcohol days, Buddhist days, but the corner shop will always sell you beer. They'll just put it in a bag that you know, not a clear bag, and you just take it home. But anyone who drinks, you know, you just stock up your freezer, your fridge, and then you don't have to go out and buy alcohol on that day. And pubs won't open, bars won't open on that day. I think there's probably about 6 days of the year where they do that. And when there's a general election, for the 24 hours before the general election, no alcohol is allowed to be sold. Not quite sure why that is. Maybe they don't want people getting drunk and talking politics, because that can end up with a shooting. That quite often happens over here in Thailand. You'll see it in the news, in the media. 37-year-old man kills his 75-year-old father because he wouldn't give him money for drugs. Man shoots entire family. Apparently, after some investigation, it had something to do with inheritance. So yeah, that's often the case. One of the children maybe didn't get left anything in the will, and that, you know, that can build up. That hatred can build up, and then at some point in the future, you know, he'll just get a gun and he'll kill his brothers and sisters. I think it's the same the world over when it comes to inheritance. People fight over the estate. But I believe that any person, when they leave this plane, they have the right to decide what happens to their estate. And those instructions should be followed to the letter. If they don't want a member of their family to receive anything, well, they have a right to do that. They do indeed. What do you think, Lucky? Do you think we should go back now or not? We've been here a long time, haven't we? So I think this has probably got to be a fairly long vlog now. So I'll end it here. And yeah, wherever you are in the world, have a great day. Don't take it too seriously. You are the director of your own movie. And this life is but a chapter in a never-ending story. So, Triple T, once again, saying until the next time. And I'll just keep putting these videos out as fast as I can.